What if you could instantly call every single lead that comes into your business, ask them some screening questions with ElevenLabs voice agents, and be able to do all of this without lifting a finger? But here's why it matters. You're 100 times more likely to be able to convert a lead if you call them within the first 5 minutes versus within 30 minutes of them filling out a form and showing interest. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to build a voice AI agent using n8n, ElevenLabs, and Twilio, so we can automatically make outbound phone calls to any customers in your business. But first, let's jump into a quick demo to see exactly how it works. So we'll come down the bottom, press execute workflow, or this can be running always in the background. I've got an example form here, so we can see Alex Hollowell. We can do test@gmail.com if you wanted to send them any emails in the future. We're going to add the phone number in there. And really importantly, we're going to say yes, because we're opting in for this call. And this is really important because in some areas, cold calling is illegal. We're going to be able to press submit. This is going to start our workflow. We're then going to automatically format that phone number. We're going to get a text that comes through that confirms we're going to get a phone call any minute now, which should come through once that triggers the HTTP request in the background. As we can see, it's now coming through.
For registering your interest with Homes AI, I'd love to ask you 5 quick questions to help you find your... Great, let's get started. First, what's your budget range for purchasing a property?
About $1 million.
That's good to know. Are you planning to buy soon, or are you still exploring your options?
I'm still exploring my options.
Understood. Do you already have a mortgage agreement in principle?
No, I'm going to need help arranging one.
Okay. What type of property are you looking for? For example, detached, semi-detached, or a flat?
Probably looking for a detached house.
And finally, which areas or neighborhoods are you most interested in?
I'm looking at Austin, Texas.
Okay, thanks for providing that information. I'm now going to summarize your responses and assess your qualification status.
So there we go. I'll skip that last part at the end. But now what it's doing is adding all of this detail into our Airtable. So we've got it, as you can see in the background here, and it's automatically gone through, added all of the details in the background. So we've got it for the future if we wanted to reach out. And it sent us a really nice confirmation text, just confirming that they've got all of the details and they're going to reach out to us in the future. And if this sounds interesting and you want to get access to this, make sure to come across to our community. It's completely free as part of your 7-day free trial. You want to come into Classroom, we've got lots and lots of different resources here, but today's one is in Voice AI. We'll then come down to where we've got ElevenLabs. ElevenLabs agent calls and qualifies. All of the different steps in here ready to go. And if we come down the bottom, we've got the blueprints. So you'll be able to download this for n8n. And we've got it set up in Airtable. So then if you want to come across into here, all you need to do is duplicate the base and it'll be ready to go for you. Once you've downloaded the blueprint here, come across to a new environment, up to the 3 dots, import from file. And then all you need to do is add that JSON blueprint in here. And there we go, it's all uploaded for you straight away. You just need to go through, change some of the details on API keys and the actual connections to the base, and you'll be all good to go. But as mentioned, we're also going to walk through how to get it set up from scratch today. So let's go through and delete all of these and go from the exact start. So first things first, we're going to come through and do a form node. This is maybe a one on your website that you could use, or if you wanted to upload a load of leads that you've got access to already, and of course, they've opted in, we can do that as well. We're going to say this is lead and then gen. We're going to add a few elements in here, so we can do customer and then name. We're going to come through and add, for example, email if you wanted to contact them in the future. We'll change this to be emailed in here. That just helps format the input so we check it's in the right one. We're then going to do phone and then number. Now, n8n at the moment don't have a phone number field in here, but it's something that we should hopefully see in the future. We're next going to come down. I'm going to say opt in, and then we're just going to change this to be drop down list, and we'll say yes or no. Brilliant. So now if we come out of here, we'll fill in our details here. We'll do Alex and then Followell, as we can see here at gmail.com. Before I fill in the last little bits, as you can see, we're validating the email as we capture it. We'll do 0712345678 just as a demo phone number we can use for this. And we can say yes, we're opting in. We'll press submit, and this is now going to capture all of the details for us to use. We'll pin this data so we can use it throughout the rest of the process. The next part, we want to go through and just check that they've opted in. So we're going to use an if statement to basically capture if opt-in equals to yes. So we'll execute the step, and as we can see here, it's true, so we'll continue the rest of the process. Now, in the example, I'm not showing how we can add the details if they said no and maybe get a team member to reach out to them, but you could do that just as easily. If we come back across, we're able to do a basic LLM chain, and in here, we're going to change it to be defined below. We're also going to need to add a prompt, and we want a specific output to come through. Now for ease, we've got it ready to go in the community, so I'll come back across, and then we're going to copy here and paste in expression. And what this is doing is it's taking from our if statement the phone number and that customer name. So as we can see on the right hand side, we've got that phone number and customer name, which I love about n8n. We can see exactly what's going to be processed. If we come down to system message, we're going to change to expression and open it up. What we need to do in here is we need to make sure it's in the right format, which is E164 for the way that telephone number needs to be formatted. So we'll come through and copy all of this and come back across and paste it here. So as mentioned, we've got two key tasks. One is we're making sure it's got the right prefix. So for example, in the UK, it needs to be +44 to go through and complete a call. As you can see here, it will change for the different areas depending on where you're based, so make sure to update the prompt. What we've also said in here is we want to extract that customer's first name so we can make it a bit more personalized in the outreach over the phone and over the actual communication in text. We'll come out of here. We've now got the prompt and the input ready to go. We just need to change that specific output. We're going to add our AI model first though, so we'll come down and use OpenAI because it's nice and cheap, and we'll be using that 4.1 mini model. I'm just going to pull that across to the AI tools. We're then going to need to add our output parser, and we're going to be using a structured JSON. We've got it ready to go already in the community. And again, this is just clearly calling that we want the customer phone number with the E164 format and that customer's first name to be output. So now if we pull those across and we execute the step, what we should see is that it gets that phone number into the correct format and is correctly identified. My first name is Alex. We'll be able to do save. Now we're going to come through and store all of those details. So in this use case, we're going to be using Airtable and we're going to be doing create a record. You need to make sure that you've got your connection all ready to go. If you've not done this before, come down and create a new credential, and you need to add your access token. To do this, come across to ElevenLabs, down to the left-hand side, and then do Builders Hub. You'll then need to generate a personal access token, so you create a token, and we can do YT and then demo, and all of the different scopes that you're comfortable with. I'm just going to go through and add all of them in this use case. And then what we're also going to do is just add all of the resources so we can access any of the bases in your actual Airtable account. We'll copy this API key, access token, come across and paste in there. And we'll just rename this to ElevenLabs AI agent and then demo. We'll do save. So now what we should be able to do is come down and find the base that we had, which if I come back is our customer qualifying agent table. So now what we can do is come back across and then search for customer qualifying agent, and it's found it. And we're just going to go for table 1 because we've only got one table in here. We'll come back across and now we're going to start filling out some of the details. So we've got our customer first name, which we can put across, and we've got the phone number, which we can add in here. Again, making sure it's in that correct E164 format. We'll then come back to the if statement. we're going to add the full customer name in here, and we'll put across the email into the email address. We'll then come down to opt-in to qualified call, and we're going to need to change this to expression. We'll remove this, and we're going to go back to the community, because what we've said in here is we're going to convert it from that text-based yes response into a binary, true or false. And this is how we can get the tick mark in here instead. Up to you if you want to do this. I just like it from a formatting point of view. We'll come back across and paste in here. So now if I show you, what we'll be able to see on the left-hand side is we've got the on-form submission, and then we're looking for if it's yes, then we're going to do true. If not, we'll do false. We're just going to need to change this. So the actual field is called opt-in. So now it's gone to true, which is correct. So we're making sure that this here matches what we've named it here. We'll come out. We're then going to remove all of these down here because that's what we're going to add a little bit later on. So now what we'll see is if I do execute step, we should see a new field number 4 come in the bottom any second now. If I just refresh this, it should come through for us to see, and there we go. Now if I come back across, we've got that confirmation, it's all gone through. Now we're going to need to get through contacting that customer. So what I'm going to do first is have a Twilio account, and we're going to send a text message. I find this really helps with those customers picking up the phone number, because we're pre-warning them that we're going to call them just to make sure that they're happy to receive that call and they recognize the phone number so they actually pick up. We're going to need to add our Twilio account. So to do that, we want to create a new credential. To do this, we're going to need to come across to Twilio, add our account SSID and the authenticating token. So you want to come across to Twilio. This is a great platform for being able to buy phone numbers, set up phone, emailing agents, messaging agents, whatever you need. This is a great place to go. And you're only going to be paying about $2 per month for a phone number. Once you log in, you'll see a dashboard that looks like this. And you just want to come down to where you've got your account SSID and your auth token. You then just want to copy these and paste them into here, and it will go green showing you're all authenticated. We're going to say that we want to send an SMS, and we're going to do an operation of send. You can do call from here if you want, but I've just found that ElevenLabs doing the voice agent is a bit better. We're going to need to add our from number in here. So if we come back across to Twilio, we've got a Twilio phone number down here. So we can copy this, come back across and paste into here. Again, if you've got multiple different numbers, maybe you set one up for a client, this is where you can add their specific phone number in. So next we're going to come through and add the phone number. So we'll do to expression. We're then going to either add the phone number from our Airtable module, or you can come back to here and put it across. The key part is you need it in that E164 format, otherwise it's not going to work. We're then going to come out of here. We're then going to come down, say we're not sending it to WhatsApp, and we're going to do a message. Now I've got an example in the community that we're going to use, but it's totally up to you how you want to use this, maybe in a specific use case. We're doing one around real estate agents today, so I just made it specific to that. So if I open this up, what we'll be able to see is that we're taking the first name from our Airtable module, and we're saying that thanks for opting in for our qualifying call. Our AI agent will be phoning you on this specific phone number. So again, telling them what the number will come from. And we're going to ask them a couple of screening questions just to get some initial information off them. You can come down and add some additional information here if you want to, but I'm not going to go through it and do that. If you want to know what they look like, I've got an example on screen here now, which just shows what that text looks like when it comes through. So again, really professional, really great experience for that customer. If we come back across, we'll come out of here and do save. We're just going to update this to be send a text, and then we're good to go. We'll do save. What I'm going to do next is just add a wait module in here. Again, we can do, for example, 30 seconds. This just gives them a bit of time to read that text message that we sent through before we actually call that phone number. So that's where next we're going to need a HTTP request module, and we're going to need to fill out these details. Now we've got the curl request ready to go here. So we're going to copy this, come back across and import the curl in here. We've made a few changes, but one that we're going to need to do is just a bit of formatting because it's not working. We just need to add the content type in here as application/JSON. The rest we're going to go through and update as we need. And if we come a bit further down, we'll see here, we're going to need to add our agent ID, the phone number ID that we've generated, and that customer's phone number. So I'm just going to do that quickly now. We can come back to create a record. We're going to get rid of this, and then we'll put across that customer's phone number, which we can add in here. And now we need to come through, add our API key, as well as our agent ID. Now to do this, we're going to come across to ElevenLabs, which is one of the market-leading platforms, if not the market-leading platform out there for the voice AI solutions, and is nice and easily integrated with Twilio from scratch. So you want to go through and set up an account. You are going to need to be on a paid account because it's going to use up your credit allowance that you have through ElevenLabs. We're then going to go through and log in. We're going to be using the conversational AI and not the creative platform. As you can see here, we've got some of the costs in the background just from some of the demos I was doing. We're going to need to come down to our phone numbers and import it from Twilio. So as you can see here, import from Twilio, and we're going to need to give it some info. So we can do ElevenLabs calling agent. We're going to need to add the phone number. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe. We've got lots of others on the channel around voice AI agents and much more. So you want to come back across to Twilio, copy your number, and then paste it in here. As we can see, it's also automatically updated that specific region from where the number comes from. We're going to need to add our account SSID. So to do that, you want to find your account SSID, which is back in Twilio, copy this and paste in there, and then you'll be able to add your token and it'll be ready to go. I've already got my account connected, so we're going to be using that, and we'll do import, so it's all ready to go, as you can see here. Now we've got the phone number up the top, and we've got our unique phone ID there. So now we can copy this, come back across to our n8n workflow, and just update where we've got our phone number ID. We'll then come back across to ElevenLabs, and we're going to need to go through and build our agent. So in this case, we're going to do a new agent. We're going to say it's a business agent. We're going to say maybe it's to do with real estate, so qualifying those customers coming in. And we're doing maybe lead qualification. As we can see here, it's gone through and added some examples in there. I've also included the goals that we've provided, but what you really want to do is just add the detail in here for what you want it to do. You can also add your website. So for example here, there's going to go through and scrape some of the data specific to your company or your client's company, so we can use it during the conversation or the context for that agent. We're going to do create an agent, and now it's going to go through and fill out the basic information for us. So now, as we can see, we've got the different languages, so we can add that in here as we need. We can do any additional languages if we want to, so they can choose between them. We can add our first message in here. So in this use case, I'm just going to say, hi there, thanks for registering your interest with Homes AI. I'd love to ask you 5 quick questions about your perfect home. You can go through and add additional custom variables in there if you want to. Again, you can make it really personalized for that first name if you wanted to do that as well. We're going to come down here and do system prompt. That looks all good to go. And it's got our 5 screening questions in there already. Again, this is just a really quick example to show you how to get set up using ElevenLabs and n8n. We're going to do much more for this as part of a series on how to build out phone agents. We can choose the different LLMs. As you notice here, they've got different costs associated with them. So for example, 2.5 Flash is going to be around $0.0019 per minute. We've got Claude in here, which is much more expensive at $0.382 per minute. And we've got the ChatGPT if you want to use that as well. We're going to come out of here though. Temperature, so this enables the agent to be really creative and go off script a little bit. Or we're going to be really deterministic, like it's going to follow the prompt word by word. So for example, for those 5 screening questions we specified, we always want to ask it in the same way. You can add a knowledge base in here as well. If you wanted to go through and give it some information about your client, your company, or as mentioned in the future, we're going to show you how to integrate different RAG so that it can pull through information in real time, maybe about your latest listings to do with real estate. We're going to say that it can end the call. We can add detect language if we want to, and we can come through and add the transfer agent if you want to, so we can go between different agents, or if you want to transfer it to a number, we can add it in here so it can go directly to a human agent and they can go through, maybe if the customer is a little bit frustrated or they just want to deal with a human. We're also going to add our voicemail detection in here, and we can add an example prompt to leave. So for example, we can paste our prompt in there, just saying, "Hi there, this is AI Sophie from Homes AI." Again, clearly calling out it's an AI agent. "Thanks for registering your interest in buying a home. When you've got 5 minutes, I'd love to give you a call back and walk through some of the options to find your home faster. Would you save?" And now that's all ready to go. You can go through and add additional information in here if you want to. We're going to show that a bit later on for how you can do some advanced features. The voice, we can come through and change this. I'm going to do it for Hope, which will play in the background now.
Hey, are you looking for a fresh and engaging voice for your podcast or social?
So there you go. That sounds really good. Or for example, Cassidy.
I just love talking about movies,
Or if you want it to be more of a man's voice.
I think this is a really nice way to just talk naturally.
So there you go. You can choose between all of these different ones. Or if you've got your own custom voice as well, you can use it through this platform. We're going to add Hope in here for now. We're also going to turn on Flash. So what this means is it's going to actually be slightly worse intelligence in the quality, i.e. it's not really going to have the same thinking abilities as a normal model, which they call turbo, because what we're doing is prioritizing, providing that response back as fast as possible, which is really key for these Flash models. You can also add pronunciation dictionaries. So if you've got certain ways that you wanted to say words, you can add that in here. And you can go through and change some of these. So if you want the agent to speak slower, you can do that as well. I know I speak quite fast in these tutorials. I'm really trying to slow down. So let me know if this pace is a bit better. We're then going to come through to analysis. We don't need to add anything in here. We can do security. So this is where you can add authentication if you want to. You can override anything in here as well. The key part we are going to add though is this post-call webhook. So this is where we're going to go through and add all of the information to be able to receive that transcript and that call analysis. So we're going to do create a webhook. We're going to do YT and then demo. We're going to need to add our callback URL. So we'll come back across to our environment, come out of here, and then for now we'll do add node and webhook. We'll add that in here. You need to make sure you're using a production URL if you want it to run continuously in the background, as it will be able to get those results every time they come through. We're going to change this to be a post request, and you can go through and add any authentication if you want to. We're going to copy this webhook URL. We're then going to come back across to ElevenLabs and paste it in here. We'll do create. We're not too worried about this webhook secret for now, so we're going to close that down. You can also add any audio data if you want to use that as well, but for now, we're just going to send across that summary and some of the transcript details. We're going to do save so it captures that, and we'll come up to the top. You can go through and add any advanced features in here. One thing to really keep an eye on is the turnout, the max conversation time, the silence time, because what this do is it will help you not use up lots of credits if that customer starts wasting time, spending lots of time doing other things, or just leaving the phone on in the background and burning up your credits. You can add any of these other details if you want to, but for now, that looks good to go. You can also add this agent onto your website. We've got another video that covers how to do that. Make sure to check it out. And as you can see here, they could start the call on the website if they wanted to that way. So now that we've got this ready to go, we can come through and give it a quick test to check it's all set up.
Hi there. Thanks for registering your interest with Homes AI. I'd love to ask you 5 quick questions to help you find your perfect home. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Crack on.
Great. Let's start with your budget. What is your budget range for purchasing a property?
I'm looking at $2 million.
Thank you. Are you planning to buy soon, or are you still exploring your options?
I'm looking to buy within the next 6 months.
That's good to hear. Do you
As you can see there, I'll pause it. It's just going through asking all the questions like we asked it to, so we know it's all working. We'll close this down, and then what we're going to do is come up to the top here and get our agent ID by just clicking on it. We'll come back across to our environment, back up to the HTTP request that we've got here, and now we can add in our agent ID. So now what we should have is our agent ID and our phone number ID ready to go, and we'll have that phone number pulled across any moment when we send the text across. I'm just going to rename this, so we'll do ElevenLabs calling agent. And now what we're going to do is need another Airtable node, because what we want to do is store that conversation ID, so when we get our webhook response back, we can update all of those details to that specific record. We're going to do update a record. We're going to make sure that we've got our base connector ready to go, and we're going to find our qualifying lead. There we go. We'll add our base in here, which is going to be table 1. And then what we're going to do is remove where we've got name, email address, phone number. We're going to keep conversation and SID. We'll get rid of the rest here, because then we can go through and use it a little bit later on. So now what I'll do is I'll just execute this step, and now we should go through, get that phone number text coming through, and having that phone number come through in the next 30 seconds or so. I'll just wait for this to come through. I'm going to cancel the call so we're not responding to it, but then we should know we're all set up and ready to go. We're then going to need to store that call ID like I mentioned, so we can use it a little bit later on. So there we go. We got the phone, we got the text message that came through, so that looks really good. And it looks like it's failed there. I think that's because I forgot to add our API key. So to do that, we'll come back across to ElevenLabs, down to our account. We're then looking for API keys. We're just going to create one here. We'll give it a random name. I'm going to have it as an unrestricted key just for this use case, because I'm going to delete it. But I'd recommend you go through and add some security just to make sure that it's not got total access if you don't want it to. We'll do create and copy to clipboard, come back across and paste in there. Now what we should be able to do is execute the step and get that phone call coming through. So there we go, all good to go. So we'll just close that down, because what we need to do now is make sure that we're capturing the conversation ID and that call SSID. Now to match it, what we want to do is come back to the create a record and pull this across as the ID to match on. So now if we come across, what we should see is this bottom row here doesn't have a conversation ID or a call SSID, but if I come back across, execute the step, what we should see is there we go, they're all updated in the background. So now we know what record we've sent off and that call ID to then come through and add it later on. So now I'll come out of here and do save. Next, we're going to walk through how to store all of those responses we're getting back from our customer. So first things first, we'll just need to give it some data to work through. So we'll come up the top and we're going to activate our environment. This is going to make sure that we can connect and get all of the data as we need it on repeat through our production URL. We'll just execute the workflow again. So now we should be able to respond back to our agent when it comes there. As we can see, we've got the text message as we need it. We're just going to wait those 30 seconds and then we'll be able to respond back to the queries that come back through. So we should get this coming through any second now. So there we go.
Thanks for registering your interest with Homes AI. I'd love to ask you 5 quick questions to help you find your perfect home. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Great. To start, what's your budget range for purchasing a property?
I'm looking at about $10 million.
Thank you. Next, are you planning to buy soon, or are you still exploring your options?
I would like to buy quite soon, please.
Understood. Do you already have a mortgage agreement in principle, or would you like help arranging one?
No, I'll need help arranging one.
No problem. We can certainly help with that. What type of property are you looking for? For example, detached, semi-detached, or a flat?
I'm looking for quite a large detached house, please.
Okay, a large detached house. And finally, which areas or neighborhoods are you most interested in?
I'm looking at London in the UK.
Thank you for providing all that information. To summarize, you're looking for a large detached house in London with a budget of around $10 million and you're planning to buy quite soon. You also need assistance with arranging a mortgage agreement in principle. Based on your responses, you are a qualified lead and we can
So there we go. We should get that response through. I've just closed that call off because it will go through and just give some positive affirmations back. But as we can see here, we've now got a new trigger in the background. So it sent it off to our webhook, which is great. This is what we need. I'm going to do copy to editor because then we can go through and use that data. So first things first, we're going to need to analyze the request that came through. So we're going to use a basic chain. Now, on the left-hand side, you'll see all the data that came back from that webhook URL, from that webhook. So as we can see here, we've got the different messages that were asked and responded to by the user or the AI. So we can go through it and use that as much as you want. There's lots of detail here, but what I really want to do is come down to where we've got the exec summary, transcript summary, because we're going to have most of the information that we need in here. We'll change this to define below and then pull it across, and we'll just put right to the front transcript, and then summary. So now we've given it the information that has happened in that conversation. We're going to need a specific output and we're going to need a prompt. So we'll change to expression, open this up, come back across to the community, and then we're going to copy all of this information here, which is that prompt for the AI agent. We'll paste that in here, and we're going to come back across, and then come down and copy the example output as well. So now if we come into here, get JSON output, and paste in here. So what we're saying is we want to extract that budget range, the timeline, the mortgage status, the property type, and any preferred areas. If we come into the actual prompt as well, again, just reiterating the same points around budgets, timeline, mortgage, property type, and preferred areas. So now what should hopefully happen if we execute this step? We need to add our AI LLM in here. So I'm just going to connect this one up to the OpenAI and we'll move this across actually. What we should see is that it captures all of that information that we provided. So now if we re-execute this, what we should see on the right-hand side is we've got that budget range. We've got looking to buy soon, need help with a mortgage, large detached house, and London. So we've got all of that information ready to go. Next, we're going to go through and just rename this and say format response. And then we're going to go through and just store all of this information in Airtable. So we're going to do update a record. So again, that customer qualifying AI agent, there we go. And we want table 1. What we're going to do is change this from ID to that conversation and or having that call SID in there. Now what we can do is from the webhook ID, we can come a bit further down and we'll see that conversation ID in there and we can put it across. We will also have the ID for the actual call SID if we wanted to use that as well. But in this case, I'm just going to get rid of it. So we're only using that conversation ID. We're going to get rid of these other details here, otherwise it will try and override them. And we're going to update where we've got the budget information. So we'll come back up to our LLM agent and then pull it across. So we've got all of those details being populated. So now if we come back through here, we'll be able to add them in. And if I come across to Airtable, what we should see is at the bottom here, we've got our response that just went through, but it's got no details with it. If I come through and just do execute step, what we should see is if I come back across, all of this information being populated, like we can see there in the background, all automatically. Now, just a bit of housekeeping, we're going to go through and use a basic LLM chain, and this is just going to respond back to the customer to confirm we've got all their details. So we'll come back across, we're going to copy the input, come into where we've got the prompt and paste in there. So now we're providing all of the details like customer name, budget, looking to buy, timelines, all this sort of stuff. The system message, the prompt, will come down here and we're just going to copy and paste across because this is going to guide it on giving it a really good output that is going to be a text message that we send to that customer. So now if we come out of here and we do save, connects up the AI brain to the actual basic LLM. what we should get in here is that text message out the back. If I just open it up, there we go, all good to go. So now we can do another Twilio module, exactly the same as the text message we sent earlier on. So if you wanted to, you can come up and just duplicate this one, add it to the end here. And then what you want to do is get rid of the to field, come back to where we had the updated response, put across the phone number, and get rid of the message here, and then put across the output from that LLM. So now if I do execute step, what we should get is a text message that comes through, and there we go. As we can see here, we've now got that message back saying that they've confirmed the response, and we got the notification that call is coming through. So there we go, all ready to go. That's been a really quick video just to get you all set up using ElevenLabs voice AI agents through a phone call conversation. This is going to be the start of a little mini series just around how you can get the most out of voice AI agents. And if you're interested in learning more about AI and automation, definitely come across to our community. We've got lots of other resources in here, everything from other AI agents that we've built, from lead generation to blogging. And we've got other masterclasses on how to use local AI, image and video generation, building apps, business systems, learning it from scratch, and masterclasses so you can get the best images or the best prompts generated from scratch, as well as much more. Stay tuned for more around AI agents, automation, and have a great day.